What's up, guys? We're back with a McFarlane Toys DC review today, taking a look at a figure that I don't really know a lot about in terms of current storylines or anything, but I very much have some nostalgia for this character, at least when it comes to the 90s. So today we're taking a look at the DC Multiverse. What is this? Batman Curse of the White Knight. That's exactly it. I have no idea what this is. Batman Curse of the White Knight AZRAEL figure. So yeah, I don't know anything about this version of AZRAEL, but it looks cool. So here we are. So we've got him here in the standard packaging for the McFarlane DC line. Oversized kind of packaging with the window box, and you've got a bunch of comic artwork in the background. And then the side panel has the name and the comic that this figure comes from. And then the back has the comic cover that they take inspiration from in making this figure, as well as a little bit of a cross-sell. So let's do it. Let's pull him out and take a look. And here he is out of the package, our DC Multiverse AZRAEL figure. And this, of course, is a newer iteration of AZRAEL. This is from the Batman Curse of the White Knight limited series from not too long ago. I don't really read comics now, so I'm not familiar with this version of him. But there is definitely some classic callbacks in his armor colors and then sort of the scheme here. But this is definitely a new version of AZRAEL, don't get me wrong. It just has a little nostalgic throwback to his early appearance. But this figure is pretty special as far as I'm concerned, because this is definitely, for me, the high point of the line right now. There is no figure that McFarlane has made that comes across as this cool, this well sculpted, painted, and mobile all in one, because there's a lot of cool stuff going on with this figure. Chief among them, the fact that I think he looks awesome, and if anything, I hope he sells so well that they want to do every single version of AZRAEL. Give me his original appearance, give me his Batman armor, either version, give me his Blackest Night appearance, give me whatever his new Batman armor is. Honestly, I'll buy them all. Todd, if you're listening, I will buy them all. So let's see what he can do, see how he moves around, because he moves pretty well. There are a few, I don't know, hang-ups with this line that I still have yet to get over, but for the most part, this guy moves really well. So you've got an interesting head system here. So the head is actually independently articulated from the neck, and the neck is connected to the hood, or the hood is connected to the neck. So when you move the neck, the hood goes with it, and he can look up that far, and he can look down really good. You've got really good tilt, and then full rotation, and it's really impressive for a figure of this size with a hood that he can do that. But then at the same time, you can also move the face and the head inside of the hood. It's not the best system, because realistically the hood should follow the head in its direction, but you can move it just enough to add a little bit of tilt inside the hood while he's also looking up or looking outward, things like that. So it's like it's a double ball peg system, I believe, in there, and it allows for really solid range. The arm goes out at the left shoulder, well, your right, and then the other side a little bit further, because of course we've got asymmetry going on here. You've got full rotation on this side, and then you have mostly a good range over here. It's not the best. You've got your butterfly joint. It doesn't do too much on this side because there's more stuff over here. There's this tunic piece that's kind of getting in the way. You've got a bicep swivel that is hidden really well by these kind of fringes. We've got a single jointed elbow here, which is okay. It gets 90 degrees and it doesn't really break up the sculpt. It's just a big bulky arm. I'm not surprised we only got one, so it does move pretty well. You've got your ball hinges at the wrist, so up and down and then rotation. We've got a torso cut, so he goes backwards, and then it's in conjunction with a ball peg waist. So he goes backwards, he goes forward, tilt really far, and then you can twist at the torso, or at the diaphragm rather, and then at the waist independently from each other. The one area where I still am not a big fan is the hips, because there is no thigh cut allowed with this particular system. So they go all the way out, and then they go all the way forward, and then they go all the way back. But they can only twist when they're out like this. They can't really twist when you're standing up because the design just doesn't allow for it. You've got double jointed knees, go all the way back. And then we've got our ball hinges down at the ankle here. So he goes forward, backward. You do rock a little bit as well, and then you can pretty much rotate at the same time. And then we've got toe articulation. So for such a beefy figure, because this guy is definitely among the bigger figures that I have looked at, not counting the big armor figures, this guy moves really, really well. I mean, he's got the hang-ups you might expect because he has a bunch of armor on him, but at the same time, he is also very mobile and very easy to pose, and I love everything that's going on with this neck and head system. Now, in addition to how well he moves, this figure also sports a pretty wild design, and if anything, it translates into figure form fantastically. Again, this is a very nostalgic character for me. I really dig the 90s comics with AZRAEL. You know, throw me a Batman armor AZRAEL and I'm going to be, you know, over the moon, really. But I don't know this particular version. It does have a lot of callbacks to his original appearance with like the gold gauntlets and the gold shoulder pieces and then the weird fringe cape thing. It's definitely not that version, but it makes me kind of think about his original appearance a little bit. But I do really like this version too, despite not really knowing what's going on or knowing anything about this story outside of a quick Google search. I think he looks pretty fantastic, and there is just so much different stuff going on here. A lot of paint, a lot of little sculpted detail, you know, like the actual shoulder pieces, the pauldrons here, tons of work on the inlay design for this. You've got his gauntlets over here, both of which have quite a bit of detail. There's a ton of wash on this tunic piece, so it's kind of a burgundy, and then it's got a black wash over it. You've got all of his little doodads on his belt here. None of these do anything, but of course they embellish the figure a little bit. And then you've got, you know, kind of the tabard piece that hangs down. Not much to speak of from the hips down as far as the figure goes. He's just sort of in red with some burgundy maroon boots there. But I think that the look is fantastic, and I really, really like the way they did, I don't know, whatever you're supposed to call these things. It's obviously not a cape, but these are separate pieces. So this piece sticks into the pauldron, and then the kind of the tassel piece is actually attached over the top of it. That's why it's able to be so rigid here, but then freely move this way. And I think it's a pretty ingenious design without making the whole thing unstable or just, you know, flipping and flopping all over the place. So I think it's really, really nice. And again, this is a cool design that translates into figure form, and a lot of that for me comes with the head sculpt because it's a really intimidating head sculpt. The hood adds a little bit of you know, mystery to him outside of the fact that he has a mask on as well. But the paint applications are really clean. The eyes are nicely done. The line work is embellished with those black markings, and then the gold fringe on the hood just sort of ties it all together with the rest of his armor. So it's a fantastic look that again translates into figure form really, really well. Now, as far as accessories goes, AZRAEL has only one true accessory and then some extras. So we've got this big monster flaming sword here, which looks fantastic. The color scheme works really well in conjunction with his armor. You've got the gold and then that kind of burgundy color there, and then you've got, you know, like a crucifix going on the hilt here, which is really nicely done. And then, of course, you've got a silver blade with a removable flame effect, and I'm always up for flame effects. So this guy looks really good, and it just slides right on. No problems with this thing. He can hold it really only in one hand. You can hold it in either hand, I should say. He can't really hold it in a two-handed pose, at least that I can do, because of how difficult it is for both arms to kind of reach across his chest. But as far as a weapon goes, this is pretty solid. And then, of course, you have the extras that are included with this line. So we got the little base here with the DC logo emblazoned on it, and then a little peg. And then we've got the trading card thing that I don't really think is necessary, but we have it. So it's got that cover artwork that's also on the back of the box. And then you've got a little bio for John Paul here. So he really only comes with one accessory, but as far as that one accessory goes, it's a solid one. So yeah, this is a pretty awesome figure. Frankly, there's not a lot to complain about here. I have a lot of nostalgia for AZRAEL, not this particular version, obviously, but it still works because there's a lot of classic look in this figure. This look has a lot of classic callbacks, I should say, and it translates to figure form really well. He moves fantastically. There are a few little hang-ups with the McFarlane articulation scheme still, but overwhelmingly, this guy is really mobile and poses fantastically. And at this point, he's probably the high point for the entire McFarlane DC line for me. I don't think there's any other figure that come close to looking this cool while also being as mobile. The Hellbat and the Soups Unchained, they look fantastic, but they don't move very well. This guy has the best of both worlds as far as this line goes. And I said it on an Instagram post, if they were all this good from McFarlane, I would have a DC problem. This thing is definitely a highlight for me. So that's going to do it for this look at the DC Multiverse AZRAEL figure. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And until next time.